Let's see what type of music we can make using glass.
Let's import the sound of the glass.
The interesting thing here is it's between two keys. It's between an F and an E. So we're going to try and fix that.
Since we can see the pitch on the graph, we can just correct it and adjust it to the nearest note. Like that. So now the tuned glass sounds like this.
Let's export the new glass file. I don't even need to say this anymore. You'll know what this step is. Let's set the root key to E. Let's crop it. And now I can play Carol of the Bells. Let's see what type of music we can make using a squeaking door. Let's import the squeaky door.
Let's crop the file.
The problem with this one is I'm hearing like 6 notes here. This is going to be a challenge.
We're going to try and get rid of these scoops in the pitch. Here's what the auto-tune door sounds like.
Cut it so there's just one note. We're going to cut it more so now we just hear one tone. Let's cut off some of the high end so it sounds less thin. Export the tune door.
Let's set the root key to B.
Let's crop it. Let's turn the volume up. Let's add some reverb. And now we have an 80s style synth. Let's see what type of music we can make using Call of Duty.
Let's import the zombie sound.
We're just going to use the second grunt. It's going to sound like this.
Let's try and cut off all the high end.
Let's export the file. Let's crop the file and set the root key to G. So on the keyboard, it sounds like this. I never thought I'd see the day where I'd be trying to make an instrument out of a zombie.
Let's run it through a distortion plugin just so we can try and change the timbre.
It's already not a, quote, pretty sound anyway, so might as well. Let's run it through an amp. Now I got a distorted bass. Let's see the type of music we can make using my intro.
Let's import me.
I'm not playing y'all the intro. Y'all have heard it at least 70 times. Let's cut off some of the air.
So right here when I say make,
I want to stretch that out a little bit. But first of all, I feel like to make an instrument, this is all too low. Because typically I like my samples higher. Because when you drop them for guitars, basses, that kind of thing, not only does it affect the pitch, it affects the length. Meaning the lower down you go, the longer the note extends. So let's go into our auto-tune software and pitch this up an octave. So this is what I sound like pitched up an octave. Let's see what type of music we can make. I never want to hear that again. So let's stretch out the A and make, and it sounds like this. Let's export the file. Let's pitch it down an octave. Now we're left with this. Let's run it through a distortion plugin. Let's run it through an amp. Let's add some reverb. Now we got an electric guitar. Let's see the type of music we can make using Roblox.
Let's import the Roblox death sound. This is just a way higher version of the Minecraft death sound. There's a pitch, so let's go ahead and tune it. The tuned oof sounds like this. Let's stretch the ooh, now we get this. Let's crop the file and fade it out. Thank y'all for the continued support in this series. This is episode 85, and as usual, if you have a sound you want to try to make music out of, let me know in the comments. Let's crop the file and pitch it down an octave. Let's add a compressor to smoothen out the volume. Let's run it through a bass amp. Let's run it through another compressor just so nothing clips. Let's add some reverb, and now I got a bass.
Let's see what type of music we can make using Halo.
Let's import the shield sound.
Cut the clip so we just get the tone. Thank you guys for the continued support in this series. This is episode 54. Drop in the comments your favorite console game.
We see a pitch, so that means we can tune it.
Now the tune shield sounds like this. Let's have it fade out. Let's cut off the low end. And let's export the file. If you have a sound you want me to try to make music out of, let me know in the comments. Let's crop the file.
Let's set the root key to C.
Let's add some reverb. And now we have a synth. Let's see what type of music we can make using Ford. Let's import the Ford chime. Let's stretch out the pitch and fade it out, so now it sounds like this. Let's export the file. Thank you guys for the continued support in this series. This is episode 63, and thank you all for 25,000 followers on Instagram. Let's crop the file and set the root key to A. Let's run it through an amp so it doesn't sound as muddy. Let's add some reverb. I'm not feeling this one. It sounded muffled and underwatery, and I didn't like that. Let's run this through a distortion plugin. Let's run it through an amp. Sounds like this. Let's change the amp switch from rock to lead. Now got an electric guitar. Let's see what type of music we can make using a refrigerator. Let's import the fridge noise. Let's crop the file so we just get one pitch. I'm hearing a D sharp, but that's not registering yet, so let's try and fix that. Let's isolate the highs so we get as much of the pitch as possible. We're going to export the file. Now let's tune the pitch. We're going to open up our sampler. We're going to select the fridge sound. Let's crop the sample. So here's the original note. But here's what's interesting. The further down you go, you hear a second harmonic, a fifth above the original note, start to come in here. And the further down you go, the more that second harmonic you can hear it as opposed to the original tone. So it reminds me of an organ sound. Let's add an amp to isolate the tones. This is kind of a electric piano and jazz organ hybrid. Let's see what type of music we can make using Yoda. Let's import the Yoda death sound. I see a pitch, so we can tune it. Let's stretch the audio. Now it sounds like this. Let's crop the file and fade it out so we're left with just that one note. Export the file we shall. While we're on the subject of Star Wars, did you know that R2-D2 is the most profane character in TV history? They bleeped out everything he said. Let's crop the file and pitch it down an octave. On the keyboard it sounds like this. Let's run it through a distortion plugin. Let's run it through an amp. Let's add some reverb. For my ally is reverb. And a powerful ally it is. And now an electric guitar we have. Let's see what type of music we can make using Super Smash Bros. Let's import the Smash Bros. Death sound. Our kick sound's gonna be this. Let's fade it out so it sounds more percussive. Let's cut off the high end. Let's export the file. Let's cut off the low end for a hi-hat sound. Let's export that file. Thank y'all for the continued support in this series. This is episode 59. And also, thank y'all for 10K followers on Instagram. Let's crop the kick, pitch it down and assign it to this note. Let's import the kick sound again, pitch it up and assign it to this note. Let's crop the hi-hat sound, pitch it up and assign it to this note. Let's remove some high end from the whole kit, add some reverb. Drum kit sounds like this. Let's see the type of music we can make using Clash Royale.
Let's go ahead and import this sound. There are pitches that we can isolate. Let's stretch out the first he, so now we're left with this. So now we're just left with the one he. Let's crop the file and set the root key to D sharp. This kind of want to makes me get Clash Royale again. Haven't played the game in like 3 years. I heard it went downhill. Let's add some reverb. Now I got an electric guitar.
Let's see what type of music we can make using Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Let's import the sound. Oh wow, the sound starts all the way up here. This should be the descending D pentatonic now. That sounds pretty cool. As usual, if you like this series and want me to keep going, have a sound you want me to try and make music out of, let me know in the comments. I'm honestly shocked you guys have enjoyed this for 77 episodes. Now I got an electric guitar.
Let's see the type of music we can make using Mario. Let's import the Yahoo. The tuned Mario sounds like this. Let's stretch out the Who so it sounds like this. Let's crop the clip. Now all we have left is the stretched out Who sound. Let's export the file. Let's crop the file and let's set the root key to E. Let's add some distortion. Distortion plugins are quickly becoming my favorite. Let's run it through an amp. Let's add some reverb. Now we got an electric guitar. Let's see what type of music we can make using the Wilhelm scream. Let's import the Wilhelm scream. I'm not seeing a pitch yet, so let's isolate the middle frequencies. Let's export the file. There's a tiny portion of this we can tune. Let's stretch out the tunable pitch. It now sounds like this. Let's crop the file and set the root key to F sharp. If I play it on the keyboard, it sounds like this. That slide at the end of the note would be perfect for a guitar. Let's run it through a distortion plugin, but this time let's use feedback instead of distortion. Let's run it through an amp and let's choose American Clean 6. Change the amp switch to lead. Let's add some reverb. Now I got an electric guitar. Let's see what type of music we can make using Scooby-Doo. Let's import the Scooby-Doo laugh. I've been getting a lot of requests for this one, so this is going to be good. I isolated 2 pitches, so I think one of these I'll be able to tune. Let's try and isolate the pitch. Let's export the file. So I had to pitch down the note in my auto-tune software, but now we're getting a pitch. Now let's export the new file. Let's crop the file and set the root key to A. Let's add some distortion. The human timbre made this really difficult to kind of morph into an instrument, but a distortion plugin is what I like to use whenever I'm trying to mask the, quote, humanness of it. Run it through an amp. Now we got an electric guitar. Let's see what type of music we can make using Street Fighter. Let's import the Street Fighter sound.
Yo, win!
We're just going to use the ooh in the you phrase. It's going to sound like this when it's tuned.
Yo,
Stretch the audio, now it sounds like this.
yo, win!
Let's crop the file. Let's isolate the middle frequencies. Let's export the file. Thank you guys for continuing supporting this series. This is episode 65. And drop in the comments, what was your favorite retro video game? Let's crop the file and set the root key to D. Let's play this sound 2 octaves below. Sounds like this. Let's run it through an amp so we can get a slightly brighter tone. Let's add some reverb. Now I can play Nirvana. Let's see what type of music we can make using Geometry Dash. Let's import the death of the cube dude. Let's crop the file and fade it out. We're going to isolate the lows for our kick. Export it. Thank you guys for the continued support in this series. This is episode 55, and as usual, if you have a sound you want me to try and make music out of, let me know in the comments. Isolate the middle frequencies for the snare, and cut off the low end for a hi-hat. And also, compared to my other videos, episode 53 blew up. And then the algorithm decided to hate episode 54. Let's crop the kick, pitch it up and assign it to this note. Let's crop the snare sound, pitch it down and assign it to this note. Let's crop our hi-hat, pitch it up and assign to this note. Drum kit sounds like this. Let's see what type of music we can make using Super Mario. Let's import the thwomp sound. This dude always sounds like he's having a rough day. Even though then again, if I had to live in Bowser's Castle for 40 years, I probably wouldn't be happy either. Let's crop the file. Good thing about this sound is I can tune it. That's the note we're going to be using. So let's try and make that E ring out for as long as possible. So now we get this. Let's cut off the high end. Thank you guys for 2,000 followers on Instagram. Let's export it. Let's crop the file and let's set the root key to E. Let's run it through an amp. It's a bass. Of course it's going through an amp. Let's add some reverb. Now we got a bass. Let's see what type of music we can make using Fortnite. Let's import the Fortnite down sound. I'm feeling more of a percussive route with this one. Crop it so we just get that little brush sound. Let's cut off the high end for the snare sound. Let's export the file. Thank you guys for the continued support in this series. This is episode 58. And also, thank you guys for 5,000 followers on Instagram. Let's cut off the low end for a hi-hat sound, even though there is no low end. Let's crop the snare, pitch it down and assign it to this note. Let's pitch up the hi-hat sample and assign it to this note. Let's cut off some of the high end for the whole kit. Let's add some reverb. Now I got a brush kit. Let's see what type of music we can make using Sonic. Let's import the Sonic ring sound. Let's crop it so we just get one tone. Let's tune the ringing. Now the tuned ring sounds like this. Let's cut off the high end so we just get pure tone. I'm gonna have permanent ringing in my ears because of this one. Let's export the file. Thank y'all for the continued support in this series. This is episode 56. And as usual, if you guys have a sound that you want me to try and make music out of, let me know in the comments. Let's crop the file. And also thank y'all for 500 followers on Instagram. I did not expect to get that. That's pretty cool. Let's pitch it down an octave. Let's add some reverb. Now we can play Greensleeves.